Hey, how's it going, YouTube? Today I'm working on my 1999 Ford Explorer. As you can see, I got it up on wheel ramps and got the front wheel chalked. I'm going to be changing out my rear shocks, and the first thing I need to do is lower the spare tire and get it out of the way. Show you guys, it's kind of dark under here, but now that okay, I can sit here and work. But here's the shock. First thing I want to do is get some penetrating oil. This looks like a 15 millimeter. That looks like an 18 millimeter. And then why you got to get the spare tire out of the way is because up top here it was blocking these bolts right here, which look like, come on, it's dark in here. See these bolts up top? You can reach them now pretty easy, but I'm going to spray down and get my glasses on. You're working under a car, you want to use safety glasses. But it's just 3 bolts. There's 2 up here and this right here. So I'm gonna get busy. Hopefully you guys can see that. Like I said, that looks like an 18, that looks like a 15, that looks like 2 13s up top. Yep, that's 15. That's 18. I'm gonna have to go get a breaker bar. Okay, I had to go get a breaker bar. Alright, should be able to break it free now. All that nuts on there, I'm going to give it a tap with a hammer. I'm just going to use my breaker bar here. That'll work. Alright, got it out. My breaker bar and give it a little tap. That's stuck. Let me go grab a plug. I got a little punch. There we go. It's out. Okay, and now I got to get the two upper bolts. Jesus, that took way too long. All right, I got one top bolt out. Got to get the other top bolt out. It's a 13 millimeter on top, and from underneath it, mine's a 10 millimeter holding it. I'm using my ratchet wrenches. They seem to work pretty good. This stupid thing, it fought me the whole way. Alright, got a wrench up there on top. Okay, you just got to reach up here and kind of get her. You fucking bastard. Yes. Fuck you. Pain in the ass. Got it. That took way too long. Alright, got both bolts out. Those top bolts. Like I said, one side was a 13 millimeter, the other side was a 10 millimeter. Alright, this shock should pull out right now. And shock's out. Okay, as you can see, there was just a bolt here. There's this bolt. It had a 15 millimeter, 18 millimeter. It's holding the shock in. And then up here, you see this pocket. I don't know if you can see it or not. Two bolts holding it down from here. Okay. Okay, getting ready to put my new shocks in. I bought Monroe shocks. Here's the part number 32253. I got two of those. 32253. Here's the shocks. Here's what it looks like. It's got this rubber band on. I'm going to leave that on. Came with a bag. There's the old shocks over there. Let's see what's in the bag here. But some new bolts. Alright, new bolts, new hardware. This should go on a lot easier. I want to show you guys something. The hardest thing about these shocks are these nuts and bolts, and because these are lock nuts, they're like, I don't know if you can see this or not, but you can see how they're basically, this nut is like an oval shape on this end, and it, like, you know, as you tighten it down, it cuts the threads, so it's really hard to run these down. And over here, like, you don't want to have the wrench up top and you're using a ratchet trying to tighten this thing, because it's actually really hard. It doesn't go on easy. It's really hard because it's got to cut those threads. So unless you're using a wrench and an impact to tighten these nuts up, it's a good idea to get a wrench and a socket and actually run this nut down a few times back and forth on this nut. It'll make it a whole lot easier to install. Take my word for it. You should do that about 3 times. You know, run it down, run it off, run it down, run it off, run it down, run it off, and this nut will be a whole lot easier to work with when you're trying to do it up top, because it'll fight you the whole way if you're doing it with hand tools. I'm going to slip this bolt in and just hold the shock in, and it'll hold it up there. Just slip this on. Okay. Okay. Now cut that off. Get some cutters in a minute. I just compressed it and slipped it off, and I'm going to show you. So I've got the, you can see I slipped the bolts in from the top, and just going to tighten those up. Okay, I got the bolts hanging down from the top part. Just going to take the nuts and screw them in, hopefully. I'm losing these things. Okay. And I'm just going to tighten these up. Got my shock in place. I got my two upper bolts tightened. I fed the bolts down from the top. That's the 10 millimeter up here now, and the 13 millimeter nut here and here. And I snug those up. Now I just got to snug these up. This bolt, and got to cut this thing off. This thing, when you compress it, it holds it. You can slip it over the top and it'll uncompress, but you still got to cut it off. It's like a little, I'll do that in a minute, but you got to snug these up. It's pretty tight. Okay, done deal now. Got my tire back in place, and those are my new shocks. Like I said, all it was a this was 18 millimeter. This on this side of the bolt was 15 millimeter, and there was two bolts up top. One side of the nut was a 13 millimeter, and the head of the bolt was a 10 millimeter. Those were the hardest things to get.